The Virginia Horse Industry Board and the Virginia Christmas Tree Growers Association are proud sponsors of Virginia farming.
This program's brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Large or small, Virginia farmers work year-round to help put food on your table. And Farm Bureau works year-round to help farmers and all Virginians. Farming, it's all good. To learn more, go to vafarmbureau.org.
Hi everybody, welcome to Virginia Farming. I'm Amy Rocher. 'Tis the season, and this week we travel to Keezletown and talk with Dave Thomas, owner of Evergreen Christmas Tree Farm. Then Mark Viette shows us how to create swags and Christmas decor when we go in the garden. We'll also have the Ag Calendar, a Minute in the Field video, and of course the Ag News of the Week, all on this edition of Virginia Farming. U.S. agricultural exports are at an all-time high, and Virginia agricultural products have followed the same trend. Earlier this year, Governor McAuliffe announced that the state's farm and forestry exports reached an all-time high of $2.85 billion in 2013. Agricultural exports from Virginia have grown in value by 27% since 2010, when the state launched a strategic plan to grow those exports. The top 3 export markets for Virginia are China, Canada, and Switzerland. Well, a recent study sponsored by the STEM Food and Ag Council found there is an abundance of job opportunities in the food and agriculture fields and a national shortage of young professionals to fill them. A report on the study includes a detailed analysis of workforce trends in 6 agriculture fields, and findings indicate that between January and August, nearly 34,000 people were hired each month. 25% of workers in those highlighted fields are 55 years or older, which means job opportunities will grow through workforce attrition. A 4.9% growth in employment opportunities is expected in the next 5 years, adding more than 33,000 new jobs in advanced agriculture fields. Now, basically, what all those numbers mean is that there's a need to transfer knowledge from a retiring generation to their successors. And unlike previous generations, some of those successors will have no previous connection to agriculture. However, the report noted that the next generation of ag professionals is both technically savvy and community-minded, attributes that can make a difference when feeding the world. Well, innovation is alive and well in the beef industry, from cattle genetics to specialty products for beef consumers worldwide. In this segment, we hear about the consumer-focused innovation behind one company's award-winning products. Cindy Campbell has the story.
The concept of quick and easy that comes with value-added products may call to mind lower quality beef, but that couldn't be farther from the truth.
You hear that a lot, but the bottom line is it does matter. Quality and consistency sells. That's how you keep your customers. If you don't have the quality, you're going to be pushing a rope uphill trying to find new customers. In the products we do, we make the best brisket out in the country. Well, it all starts with the material you start with, and that's certified Angus beef.
Heat and serve items have been hot sellers lately. They add convenience and decrease cooking errors for consumers, while adding value to once undervalued cuts.
There's short ribs and beef bacon, and all these things help add value to the rest of the carcass, in which we're trying to accomplish. We developed a shredded beef item using the shoulder clod, which was an undervalued, utilized part of the carcass. The packer or the industry being able to merchandise all the cuts of the beef carcass. That's the bottom line.
Beef items traditionally requiring long or difficult preparation, such as brisket, are ideal for these pre-cooked lines, and sales data point to opportunities in different cooking styles.
Well, I'd say in recent years there's been a tremendous amount of new products out there. Our focus or particular interest is in barbecue. Barbecue is a hot item right now, and so we do a smoked brisket.
What's next? Whatever the customer wants, if enough of them want it.
You just try to see what the public or the consumers are looking for, and then, okay, or customers come to us looking for something, then we can say, all right, we'll talk to the packer and see what raw materials are available to get what they need.
As the rich and varied resources of beef are developed to their best use, processors enjoy the most success with consumers when they start with consistent quality. I'm Cindy Campbell.
Thanks, Cindy. Virginia Agriculture will play a starring role in a new holiday show at the Meadow Event Park. The Illuminate Light Show in Santa's Village is open through January 3rd. It's a holiday light display created with nearly 1 million LED lights and set to music. Santa's Village will house trees decorated by the 3 winners in the State Fair of Virginia's Christmas tree decorating competition. Additionally, a Virginia agricultural commodity-themed tree will be on display. And along with twinkling trees along the drivable route, there will be Virginia-grown Christmas trees, wreaths, and garlands for sale. Well, Virginia has more than 500 Christmas tree farms located throughout the state. The Virginia Christmas tree industry ranks number 7 in the U.S. Cutting your own Christmas tree is a wonderful family tradition, and it's a great way to support Virginia farmers. Today, we talk to Dave Thomas and learn more about Virginia-grown Christmas trees. That's straight ahead on Ag Insights. Today we're visiting Evergreen Christmas Tree Farm in Keezletown, Virginia, and I'm joining Dave Thomas, the owner of Evergreen Christmas Tree. Dave, thank you so much for having us out today.
Well, thanks for coming out.
Well, 'tis the season, right?
It's coming really close.
It absolutely is. Now, how many trees do you have here at Evergreen?
Well, we have about 22 acres that are actually in Christmas trees, and we have about 15,000 trees in different stages.
Okay. Now, you own another Christmas tree farm as well, correct?
I do. It's called Valley Star Farm, and it's located near Luray, Virginia.
Okay. Now, how big is that one?
That one is about 13 acres, a little smaller than this one. Okay. And that one probably has, well, that's probably about 8,000 to 9,000 trees on that farm.
So how long have you been growing Christmas trees?
This was my first farm, and I bought it from a gentleman that was growing trees for a long time beforehand in 1988. So that's what, 26 years that I've been in Christmas tree business.
So with these 2 farms, is this a full-time job for you?
Well, I'm also a consulting forester, and I try to minimize the amount of time that I spend on the trees, but it still takes a lot of effort and a lot of work. But I am able to have some very good folks that help me out, so I don't have to spend quite as much time.
Now, with 2 farms, do you have full-time employees that you can employ year-round?
Basically, I have contract employees.
Okay.
And they work in the busy times of the year. Planting time, fertilizing time, trimming time, of course the Christmas season, which is right here.
Right. Okay. Well, what kinds of Christmas trees do you grow? I mean, right now we're pretty central in the Shenandoah Valley. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what kind of trees grow well in this area?
The ones that do the best in this area are white pine, Scotch pine, Norway spruce, Colorado blue spruce, and then some of the firs we can grow. We can grow Douglas fir, we can grow concolor fir, and we can grow one called Canaan fir. And their Canaan fir is very similar to a Fraser fir, but in this elevation, it's difficult to grow the Fraser firs here. They're more in the mountains of Virginia, Southwest Virginia, and North Carolina.
Okay. But do you order some of those trees in from different parts to meet the Fraser fir demand? I thought I saw where you had them offered.
We do. We get a few Fraser firs in, not very many, probably 60, 70 trees, just to be sure that we have what a customer might want. But we have these Canaan firs that I think are going to pretty well take care of that market, because they're, like I say, they're very, very similar. And we're learning how to grow them. We haven't been growing them as long as some of the other pines and spruces.
What do you attribute the trees growing so well? Is it the soil? Is it the climate? Is it the terrain? What is it about Virginia Christmas trees that make them grow so well?
It's a combination, and you sort of have to pick your tree to suit your site. When you get on different soils and when you get on different directions that the slopes are facing, or when you get on top of a hill as compared with a low spot, different types of Christmas trees like different environments. But you know, it's definitely a combination of the three.
Okay, all right. So what seems to be your most popular tree? When people come out, do people usually have in mind, oh, we have to get this kind of tree because this is our tradition?
Some folks do. Some folks have a particular kind of tree they're looking for. But most of the folks come out and they look at the trees and they see what they like. And everyone seems to have different types of trees that they like, which is good because we have a lot of different types of trees. Not only different species of trees, but you know, tall, short, wide, narrow.
Charlie Brown, little
Charlie
tiny.
Brown. We actually sell a few Charlie Brown trees.
They're cute.
And then we have some that don't make Christmas trees, and they might not even make a Charlie Brown tree. So we use those for our wreaths and roping and other decorations.
I saw some ladies in the shop earlier working on wreaths, and you had some wreaths sitting outside. They're beautiful. And when do they start making those wreaths and getting them ready?
Yeah, they start working on the wreaths about a week before Thanksgiving. We don't like to start too early because we want to have those fresh just like the trees.
Sure, sure. They'll dry out just like the trees.
They will. We have very fresh wreaths because we make them right here, most of our wreaths. And so that helps to keep them longer.
Oh yeah. Now, have you seen any trends recently? Like people are buying more of one type of tree than the other in the last couple of years?
Well, it seems like the pines haven't been as in favor in the past few years as the spruces and the firs. And I've also seen a lot more folks that want tall trees, large trees. I guess some of the houses have large ceilings and cathedral ceilings, large spaces to put the trees in. And we can fit that bill. We have a lot of nice tall trees.
Well, let's talk about those tall trees for a minute. Let's take, for example, a 12-foot tree. I mean, I think a 7 is pretty average for a Christmas tree.
7.5.
But if you go larger, say to a 12-foot tree, how many years does it take on average to grow a 12-foot Christmas tree?
It would take about 12 years, 13 years. They'll grow about a foot or so a year after they get established.
And you start all of your trees from seedlings, correct?
We do, and they're actually called transplants. They're seedlings that have been dug up and planted back out again, spaced out. So what we plant is usually what they call a 2-2. And that means it's a 2-year-old seedling that was transplanted into a bed and spread out, and then they grow it another 2 years. So that tree is actually 4 years old when we put it in the ground.
Okay, so about how big is it when you put it in the ground
It's
here?
only about a foot tall.
Okay, all right. So the 2 and 2s that you plant, you certainly don't just put them in the ground and hope for the best. There's a lot more work that's involved in the Christmas tree operation than just planting them. Can you walk us through like the life cycle of a tree and what you do to that tree to get it ready for us when we come to cut it down?
Well, after it's planted, we have to be sure that the weeds and grass and insects don't overtake it. So we have to be diligent on checking on the little seedlings and mowing around them. We wait until they get a couple feet, 2 to 3 feet tall. Then we clip out the doubles. We try to get a nice straight stem. And after that, when they start getting a little larger, we start to actually trim them every year. Once a year we trim. The pines are done in the summertime in June and July. Nice hot weather.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And the spruces and firs, we can pretty well wait on those and do those late summer, early fall, anytime up until we sell them at Christmas time. The trimming is probably the most labor-intensive job that we have. We fertilize most of our trees. They respond and do better with some fertilization. Like I said, disease is something we have to look out for. We've had some issues with disease, just like a lot of the other growers in the state in the past few years.
So you're a member of the Virginia Christmas Tree Growers Association. Give us a little bit of background about what that organization is and what you guys represent.
Well, that organization is a group of mainly growers and anybody that's involved in the Christmas tree industry. Some of the folks are the suppliers of the tools and things that we use. There's also people from other states that are involved in the Virginia Christmas tree growers. But it's a group of growers from Virginia, mainly, that have a lot of knowledge, and they gather a lot of knowledge from each other.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the weather. This year, we've had a pretty moist summer. We've had a good amount of rainfall, at least here in the valley. Does that play well to a cut tree? Do you think that might help the trees last a little bit longer because they've had such good moisture throughout this most recent year?
I think it does. From past experience, when we get more moisture in the ground, the trees are going to be heavier. They're going to soak up more water. It's probably the most important the last month before the Christmas season, but it appears as if the whole year contributes to having a good moist tree. Do you have any tips for people who come out to a tree farm and cut their own tree? What's the best way to take care of that tree once they get it home? Once they get the tree home, they need to put that tree in water as soon as they can. Shortly after the tree's cut, it starts to seal over on the bottom of the tree.
The sap starts to come out?
It does, and it hardens up, and it prevents the tree from drinking water. So if they're not going to put the tree up for a little while, it's still good to put it in a bucket of water. And when they do put it up, if it's been over a few hours, I would definitely recommend slicing a very thin slice right off the bottom of the tree, and that'll open up those pores and let it drink a lot better.
So that it can absorb the water.
Yes. And then, of course, the next thing to do is to be sure that you water the tree regularly so that it doesn't run out of water. Because when it does run out of water, then
the same thing happens again, right? It can seals up, and no matter how much water you put in that container, it's not going to drink it.
Exactly.
Okay. Something that you guys have going on at your farms is called Trees for Troops. Tell us a little bit about that and how it works.
Well, here about 5 years ago, I was approached by a representative of the Trees for Troops program, which is a program that the National Christmas Tree Growers, in conjunction with the Christmas Spirit Foundation, have developed. And it's been going on, I think, about 10 years. And what they do is they provide Christmas trees for military personnel at various bases throughout Virginia, throughout the United States, and even overseas. And FedEx is the folks that come out and they offer their services for free to haul these trees to the various locations. So I thought it was a great idea.
Absolutely.
And I think that the troops gives them a feeling of home, a feeling that somebody cares. So what we do is, if somebody buys a tree for the regular price to give to the troops, then we contribute another tree. And so that kind of sparks people's interest, and they think, okay, I'm going to give a tree to the troops, which is a great thing to do, but on top of it, we give another tree to the troops.
So they're getting 2 trees when someone purchases one.
Exactly. If they purchase that tree not for themselves, but for the
for the troops.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great program.
We've gotten a lot of good comments on it. There's a website that you can go to, and the folks that get the trees seem to be really appreciative.
Dave, do you have a website for your tree farms?
We do, for both of them.
Okay.
The one for Evergreen is www.evergreenchristmastrees.net.
.net. You can remember that because they put the net around the trees,
there you go.
right? Okay.
There you go.
All right, and the other one?
The other one is valleystarfarm.com.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule at this time of year. We really do appreciate it.
Well, thanks for coming out. I've enjoyed it.
If you can, make a family tradition and go out to a tree farm and get your own Christmas tree this year. We'll be right back. Creating swags and other holiday decor may be easier than you think. To show us how, here's Mark Viette.
My favorite plants to use to create a swag might be the Hetzi juniper or one of the firs like the Nordman fir. But to decorate those swags, you're going to need some bright colors, like some of the Chamaecyparis or cypress. And just go in your garden. These are plants growing for years, and this plant might be 20 years old, but you can start to plant new ones in your own garden if you want. And I just reach in and get some of this bright color. It's easy. I like it to the long, nice growths with the beautiful tips. Firs make great swag. So just, again, get 2 to 4 nice flat branches. Just reach in and just take your time picking the right branch so you end up with something that looks just like this. I said this was easy, and it is easy. It took longer getting everything set together than to make a swag. One of the things that you can do is you can get your own pine cones, and this is the black pine, and wire them with heavy wire. You put the wire around the base and you turn it a couple times with the pliers. Or you can use your eastern white pine. Great. Real easy to use. This was the nice fir. Nice, flat, sort of somewhat perfect dimensional, but you can even use something more narrow if need be. And what I'm going to do is take my greens just like this. It's that simple. Just go ahead, wire this together. You might get a pliers and tighten it up if need be. So you've got this laid right on top of this. Then all you need to do is decorate it. Sometimes I put the bow on the end, but I'm going to put the bow on in the beginning. And that's going to cover the cut portion of what I've done. So I'm going to wire this bow. This is a bow that I can reuse from year to year because it has the wire built in to the ribbon. And you just got to puff it out. Sometimes when you pack them, you put tissue paper. And so when you have it, it sort of drapes like this. I'm going to add a couple things to it so it looks a little more natural. I'm going to add some cones at the base, which have been wired together. But I want to brighten this up just a little. So you can get these balls. Again, I like to use them in groups of 3. And I'm going to build them into this right near the top. I'm going to take another set and position them right and then you've got something like this that you can hang on a front door. These are also great to hang in windows. Now, what I will do, right before I possibly put the bow on, I will go ahead and use a product, something like Wilt Stop. This is a spray that preserves the needles and it allows them to stay about 3 times longer than normal. So it can last or make a swag like this last for 6 weeks. So you do want to spray or dip it in a product that preserves the foliage. It's that simple. You can do it with your junipers, you can do it with other types of plant material in your own garden, and it's that easy. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
Taking a look at the ag calendar, the Virginia Board of Agriculture and Consumer Services will meet on Thursday, December 11th in Richmond. The meeting will begin at 9 a.m. in Senate Room 3 of the Virginia State Capitol. That does it for our show. Thanks so much for watching and have a great week. I'm Amy Rocher for Virginia Farming.
This program's brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. From apples to zucchini, Virginia farmers work hard to put food on your table. And Farm Bureau works year-round to help farmers and all Virginians. Farming, it's all good. To learn more, go to vafarmbureau.org.